On September 11th in 1990, sitting U.S. President George H.W. Bush proudly stated, "Out of these troubled times, a new world order can emerge, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations." What exactly did this Skull and Bones member mean by a new world order? You've been lied to your entire life. You were told that voting gives you a voice, that political parties represent your beliefs, that democracy in America is the ultimate safeguard of freedom. But here's the truth. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. For centuries, America has been sold a narrative of choice, a left and a right, a red and a blue. And every 4 years you're invited to step into a booth and pick which master you'll serve. Every election cycle, Americans are told they face the most important election of our lifetime. And every time, the choices are framed as polar opposites. Yet year after year, war continues, debt rises, freedoms shrink, and the globalist agenda advances, no matter who is in power. All you need to do is follow the money. Pharmaceutical companies donate to both Democrats and Republicans. Defense contractors do the same. Big tech spreads its money across the aisle. Why? Because they're not betting on a side. They're buying the whole table. No matter who wins, they win. Even when a true outsider manages to rise, the system is designed to absorb or destroy them. Smear campaigns, manufactured scandals, financial sabotage. The left and the right are not opposing forces. They are two wings of the same predatory bird, circling above you, feeding on your division, while both serve the same hidden masters. Who benefits when two wings flap in perfect rhythm for the same two-headed eagle? Every election you think you have a choice, but you are choosing between carefully selected actors, vetted and approved by the same elite network that has been in power for generations. What if the real power never changes hands, no matter who sits in the Oval Office? This system thrives on division. Party labels are nothing more than psychological weapons. They don't just represent different political philosophies. They shape your identity. Once you declare, "I'm a Republican" or "I'm a Democrat," you've been sorted into a tribe. And from there, your programming begins. If you want to control people, divide them. Religion, race, income, gender, geography, and most effectively, politics. Identity politics is one of the most destructive tools ever unleashed on a population. It reduces the complexity of human beings into tribal caricatures. Once you identify with a political party, your worldview becomes predictable. The media knows exactly which buzzwords to use to make you feel proud, angry, or afraid. The media is the propaganda machine that keeps you enslaved. The mainstream press is corporate-owned intelligence agency infiltrated and ideologically aligned with the same globalist network. If you identify with a party, you already know which media outlets belong to you, and they know it too. They don't have to persuade you. They just have to feed your bias. Fox News for the right and CNN or MSNBC for the left. But both sides omit, distort, and outright lie when the truth threatens their shared masters. The CIA's Operation Mockingbird may have been exposed decades ago, but its principles are alive and well. Control the narrative, repeat the lie, and keep the public hypnotized. And make no mistake, independent voices are not immune. Many popular so-called alternative podcasts are just as biased, just as selective, and in many cases, just as bought. True neutrality is rare, and rare truth is dangerous to power. Do you honestly think somebody gets to Joe Rogan's success levels without joining the club? The media feeds each side a steady diet of outrage. Social media algorithms amplify your biases, showing you only what reinforces them. Identity politics doesn't just pit you against the other side. It programs you to see fellow citizens as enemies. Human beings are programmable, not just our opinions, but our entire cognitive process. And political parties are programming devices. Declare yourself Democrat or Republican, and you've already closed part of your mind. You'll dismiss evidence that challenges your side, excuse corruption when it's your guy, and demonize the other team for doing the same thing. The elite know this. They count on it. They don't need to hide the truth. They just need to make sure your brain rejects it before it registers. That's why both sides frame every issue in ways that keep you emotionally invested and intellectually divided. What if there were no parties, no red versus blue? What if every candidate had to run on their actual words, actions, and policies without the safety net of a loyal base? The truth is, most Americans would probably discover that their values don't sit neatly on either side of the spectrum. Many would find a blend of beliefs, some left, some right, and the corporate war machine that feeds on division would starve. But for that to happen, the spell has to be broken. The decades of programming have to be undone, and that starts with you. Turn off the propaganda, listen to all sides, research outside the mainstream, look for the patterns that connect past to present, how the same policies advance under different banners, how the same families and networks hold power no matter the vote. Your allegiance is not to a party, a politician, or a symbol. It should be to the truth, and truth has no party. As long as you identify as one of them, you'll never see that they're all one of them. Let me ask you a very important question. Who benefits when the population is split into hostile camps? Who wins when your neighbor becomes your enemy simply because of a yard sign? I'll tell you who. The ones who pull the strings from the shadows, the globalist elite, the dynastic families, the secret societies, the people whose names never appear on a ballot, but whose influence shapes every law, every war, and every cultural shift. Your enemy isn't the person who votes differently than you. Your enemy is the system that convinces you to hate them. The Apostle Paul warned about this kind of factionalism. In 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10, he wrote, "I appeal to you that there be no divisions among you, but that you be united in the same mind and the same judgment." Yet today, division is celebrated as diversity of thought, when in reality it's manufactured opposition. You're not arguing with your political enemy because you reached different conclusions through critical thinking. You're arguing because you've both been fed two versions of the same script. The media's job is to make you believe the fight is real. CNN and Fox News pretend to be mortal rivals, yet both answer to the same corporate advertisers and global interests. They're not telling you the truth. They're giving you the script you're supposed to repeat. You've been conditioned since childhood to pick a side, Republican or Democrat, red or blue, right or left. You were told that to be a good citizen, you must pledge allegiance to one tribe and despise the other. This isn't democracy. It's psychological warfare. The labels are not meant to give you identity. They are meant to control it. In the Freemasonry text Morals and Dogma, Albert Pike writes, "The crowd is untruth. Its voice is that of falsehood. The craft must guide them without their knowing." The elite know that if you cling to truth, you can't be herded like cattle. So they flood your mind with bias until you lose the ability to think critically. Neutrality becomes impossible. Every issue becomes us versus them. This is why true neutrality has almost disappeared. Critical thinking has been replaced with reactive loyalty. People don't examine ideas anymore. They defend their team, no matter how corrupt their leaders become. You've been programmed to defend your side as if it were your identity, without ever realizing both sides work for the same globalist, Luciferian agenda. The real power sits behind the curtain, operating in the shadows, where oaths are sworn in secret rooms, not to the Constitution, not to God, but to the brotherhoods and networks that have been manipulating history for centuries. You are fed symbols, slogans, and narratives until you internalize them as truth. The phrase, "Make America Great Again," triggers one set of emotions. Hope and change triggers another. Both were tested, refined, and weaponized by the same behavioral scientists. Propaganda isn't just in news, it's in sitcoms, late-night comedy, Hollywood blockbusters, and even the sports you watch. Every cultural signal is designed to reinforce your side and vilify the other. Why? Because a divided population can't unite against the real enemy. The founders' vision of a free republic has been hijacked by a cartel of bankers, secret societies, and global power brokers. And once you trace the web far enough, you find that most roads lead to one word, Freemasonry. This isn't new. George Washington, America's first president, warned about the dangers of political factions. He called them potent engines by which cunning and ambitious men could subvert the power of the people. He saw it coming. But here's the irony. Washington himself was a master mason, initiated into a network that's played an outsized role in shaping the very political machinery he warned us about. The Freemasons were not just some casual fraternity of stonecutters. They were, and still are, an intricate network bound by oaths, symbolism, and shared ideology. From the founding of this nation, secret societies have sat in the shadows of power. 13 of the 39 men who signed the U.S. Constitution were Freemasons. The Great Seal of the United States, the unfinished pyramid and all-seeing eye, is pure Masonic symbolism. This influence didn't vanish after the founding. It evolved. It embedded itself in the very framework of government, business, media, and education. The Masonic doctrine of duality, the balance of light and dark, perfectly explains why they control both sides. They need you to believe there is opposition while ensuring both paths lead to the same destination. The Freemasonry text, Morals and Dogma, states, "We must give the people heroes to worship and villains to despise, but both must serve the craft." From the Bush dynasty to the Clinton machine to the carefully crafted image of Barack Obama, you've been given different faces but the same agenda, the same handlers, the same globalist playbook. So the question isn't who will win the next election. The question is, when did we stop having a choice? Think back to George H.W. Bush, former CIA director, Skull and Bones initiate, vice president under Reagan, and later president. He was the first to openly declare the coming New World Order in 1990, a phrase that wasn't a gaffe, but a mission statement. Then came Bill Clinton, a Rhodes Scholar with deep connections to the same elite networks, who pushed NAFTA, deregulated Wall Street, and expanded global corporate power, policies that benefited the same interests Bush had served. After 8 years of Clinton, you got George W. Bush, Skull and Bones member, another wartime president, pushing the Patriot Act and forever wars in the Middle East under the pretext of 9/11. And when his time was up, the establishment's solution was Barack Obama, the hope and change candidate who continued the surveillance state, expanded drone warfare, and bailed out the same financial elite responsible for the 2008 crash. And then after Donald Trump's first term, we had Obama's vice president take the helm. Joe Biden, the career politician who strongly pushed international climate accords, World Health Organization treaties, and policies designed to erode national sovereignty under the guise of sustainable development. Republican, Democrat. It didn't matter. The policies advanced the same corporate, banking, and military-industrial interests. Under the surface, the policies and executive orders advanced the same globalist goals through both political parties. Expanding surveillance, destabilizing the Middle East, and pushing identity politics to fracture society. Division is the most valuable currency of the elite. Party labels create instant bias. Red team versus blue team. Conservative versus liberal. It's a sports rivalry with higher stakes, one that keeps you too busy fighting your neighbor to notice the man behind the curtain. Mainstream media is the delivery system for this programming. Every headline, every breaking news alert, every carefully edited clip is designed to trigger your emotions first and your logic never. Neutrality has been destroyed. True independent thought is treated like treason. If you question your side, you're branded a traitor. If you question both, you're called a conspiracy theorist. Your loyalty to a political party is not patriotism, it's programming. Here's what they don't want you to see. The same elite network funds both sides. The same defense contractors profit under Democrats and Republicans. The same banks write the checks. The same corporate lobbyists write the bills. Presidential debates, controlled by corporate sponsors and staged by the Commission on Presidential Debates, co-chaired by members with deep ties to both parties. It's a masterclass in controlled opposition. They always follow proven formulas. Maybe this one sounds familiar to you. Step 1, manufacture crises. Step 2, Offer prepackaged solutions that expand government control. Step 3. Use the media to divide public opinion and turn the people against one another. Step 4. Consolidate more power for the same ruling class, no matter which party is in charge. Think about it. Why do policies like the Patriot Act survive both Bush and Obama administrations? Why do wars started under one party continue under the next? Because the players change, but the game remains the same. These aren't opposing legacies. They're coordinated moves in the same long game. And here's the key you're never told. These aren't isolated presidencies. They're chapters in one long narrative. They meet in the same rooms. They attend the same closed-door gatherings. Bilderberg, Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission. They speak the language of global governance, not national sovereignty. The Bush family fortune, tied to oil, banking, and even financing Nazi-linked companies before World War II. The Clintons, masters of influence peddling, from the Clinton Foundation's foreign donations to their deep ties with corporate lobbyists. Obama, groomed by the Chicago political machine, backed by Wall Street firms like Goldman Sachs before his 2008 rise. This is not conspiracy theory. This is documented history. And while they debate on camera for the public's entertainment, behind the scenes they advance the same core agenda. Consolidate wealth and power into fewer hands. Expand surveillance and data collection. Merge national economies into global trade systems. And use war, crisis, and fear to justify authoritarian measures. This is why, no matter who you vote for, you keep getting more debt, more foreign wars, more erosion of privacy, and more consolidation of corporate control. This is exactly what the political machine does. It dresses corruption in the robes of patriotism. It convinces you that bombing another country is spreading democracy, that stripping freedoms is keeping you safe, that selling out your nation's sovereignty is being a good global citizen. But here's the dangerous part. They know that to keep this system running, you must believe in the illusion of choice. You must believe the left and right are mortal enemies. You must fight your neighbor over party loyalty. You must be distracted by culture wars, while the real war, the war for your mind, your freedoms, and your future, rages quietly above your head. So where does this leave you? It leaves you with a choice, not between two candidates on a ballot, but between staying asleep or waking up. Because once you see the strings, you can't unsee them. You start questioning why Bush Sr. talked about the New World Order and why Clinton pushed globalist trade, why Bush Jr. expanded wars without end, and why Obama, the supposed anti-war president, dropped more bombs than Bush. You start seeing that it's not about left or right, it's about them and us. It is imperative that you stop, take a breath, to release all your long-held beliefs and biases, and ask yourself, if the same agenda continues no matter who you vote for, who's really in charge? Because the answer to that question will change how you see everything. What if everything you've been taught about power, progress, and politics was a lie? What if the faces you've trusted, the presidents, the leaders, the dynasties, were nothing more than actors reading a script written by forces that do not serve you? In 1844, the Freemason British Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli stated, "The world is governed by very different personages from what is imagined by those who are not behind the scenes. You live in a world where the illusion of choice is the most powerful weapon. You're told you have democracy, freedom, and representation. But look closer. The same families, the same dynasties appear again and again, regardless of the side you vote for. This is not politics as usual. It's a spiritual war disguised as a political choice. They don't serve Christ. They serve power, and power serves Lucifer." Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12 says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world."